All right. I hope your earlier in the week. I hope your virtual days, everything went well. Thanks for those of you who showed up on the Google Meet for Monday. So just kind of as a reminder, um, this gold group, you guys are supposed to be showing up Mondays at the same time as you normally would have class for this class. So whenever you're supposed to have class on your in-person days, there should be a Google Meet for all your other classes, so you can kind of tune in and get a little extra help. And attendance will not be taken, but it's an extra way to get some extra help and to get some more instruction. Because I think I noticed, I know that you guys probably noticed, but the virtual days can be a lot more difficult than the in-person days, just because if you have questions, you don't necessarily have someone that you can go and ask for help. So the plan is on Mondays for you guys, you'll show up at 7:50. I'll have a Google Meet link posted, and you won't need to be on the class the whole time. It'll be a quick kind of 5, 10, 15 minutes, at maximum 30 minutes, where we will either walk through an assignment, give you some reminders, a review from the previous week, those types of things. All right. And then if you have questions as you're going through the assignment, you'll have someone there that you can always put something in the chat, send us an email, or you know that we're working on the same thing at the same time, and so you can get your questions answered a little bit quicker. All right. So that's the plan for the rest of the semester. And then once we get into semester 2, it will be a requirement to be there. So it's good to kind of get into the habit right now. Now, let me check here my calendar. When does second semester start? So it looks like we're going to finish up this week tomorrow. We'll have a full week next week, and then we'll have like a half week the week after. So that's like 1.5 more weeks after this week, 1.5 more weeks. And then we go on our winter break. And then when we come back, I think it's like 8 or 9 days left. So semester 2 is coming up here pretty quick. Semester 1 grades do become final after the semester 1 final exam, which I think we're doing final exams still with our schedule. But that means that if you have any percentage lower than a 60%, you don't get credit for this class. So make sure that the big thing, that those tests are taken. If you are missing a test, that's really going to hurt your grade. Okay, most of the tests are probably locked at this point, so you're going to have to contact Miss A or myself to get those tests open so you can take those tests. So make sure that I know this hybrid and virtual kind of learning is very, very different, and I thank you guys for doing your best and doing as much as you can. And I know it's more difficult than what it would be on a normal year, but I want to make sure that you guys are aware here. We only have like 4.5, maybe 5.5 weeks left before those grades become final. So make sure that then the next like 4.5, 5.5 weeks, you really push through and you do as much as you can to make sure you are satisfied with your grade at the end. All right. So then let's see here. So you guys at this point should have completed Monday's assignment, Tuesday's assignment, and Wednesday's assignment. If you haven't done that, make sure you get those things done today. Today, Miss A is going to walk you through Thursday's assignment and then Friday's assignment, or at least get you started on those things so you guys can complete both of those, and then you'll have no chemistry to do tomorrow or the weekend. But make sure that you get those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday assignments in because from what I've seen, what Miss A has seen, and all the teachers at Beaver Dam have seen, those in-person assignments, you guys are really crushing. You guys are doing an awesome job on those. But then the virtual tasks, they don't always get turned in because life gets in the way. A lot of things get in the way, and then we lose track of those things. So use your class time the best that you can to make sure you get all those things in. Okay, I think those are all the updates. The last thing I want to do is we have an advisory kind of presentation, an advisory kind of lesson that we're supposed to go through here. So let me share my screen. Okay, here we go. So passion first. I think this is super important. So let me just double check that this is the right one. It is. All right. So no matter what dream you choose, what you do must matter to you. And therefore, it is important to know your core values and build your dream around them. So one thing I've noticed as I've been getting older, a lot of the people, a lot of my friends that don't teach at the high school, and I hear a lot of people say it, that they don't like their job. And I think that's a shame that every day you need to go to a job that you don't like. I think that would be incredibly draining emotionally on you to do something every single day for the majority of your day, like 8 hours, that you don't like doing. And so it's important to like what you're doing and to search for those things that you like doing and try to make that something that you do every day. So here's a video that we'll watch. Let me just turn this up to make sure you can hear it.
Scrawny, chubby, short, queer. Getting caught up in bullying, it's so easy because you're just glad that you're not being bullied.
It's been hard for me to stand up for other people because I feel like I'm already a target. It's just easier to do nothing.
So the first question here, why is it easier to do nothing when you see someone being bullied? So what I'd like you to do right now is put some things in the chat. Why is it easier to do nothing when you see someone being bullied? Because we've probably all been there. I know I've been there, especially when I was in high school. I would see some people getting bullied and I wasn't sure if I really wanted to help or not. Why would that be? Whoop, I don't see anything in the chat. Come on, people. Why is it easier to do nothing when you see someone being bullied? Or if you'd rather pop off a mute and say it out loud instead of type it out, you can do that. Here we got one. Because you feel like you're going to be targeted next if you try to help. Absolutely. When you fight back or stand up, you could get in trouble yourself or you'll get targeted. Absolutely. That's even as, excuse me, even as a teacher, I've broken up fights before at the school and it has crossed my mind. Like, hey, if I step in there, I might get hit because there's a fight going on. There's some bullying going on. I know if I step in that I may be the target. It's crossed my mind as a teacher. All right. So I know it's crossing your minds as students. All right. But I feel like as a teacher at the school that it's my duty to protect all students. All right. Because it takes work to stand up and fight back. Absolutely. All right. It's easier sometimes just to stand off to the side and do nothing. All right. Let's continue. Thank you for Sebastian, Juan, Dorian, thank you guys for participating.
Stop. Fine. Dude. Ow. Fine. Stop. Fine. Ow. Stop. Do you have any friends? Yes, I heard you. What are you even doing here? It's too easy. Stop. Come on. I get it. Maybe you are a little bit more. Oh. You think you're special? One more Virginia meal.
All right. Do you think people are more likely to say something about their bullied Whopper Jr. or the bullied boy? I mean, you probably got an idea after looking at that. Can you guys hear the video? I just want to check. Sometimes the sound doesn't work. All right. Thank you. All right. So why do you think, or what do you think people are going to complain about more? Whopper because it affects them directly. Burger because it affects them, but the boy doesn't. Yeah, absolutely. They have something invested in that burger. They ordered it. They have some money invested in it. It affects them directly. It's given right to them. If you were an adult and your child was being bullied, you'd probably be more likely to protect your child than somebody else because it means more to you. Whopper because they feel like the boy is none of their business. Absolutely. All right, we'll keep watching. Thank you for participating.
Dude, stop. You're fine.
I just opened it up and it's all smashed. Did you order bullied or unbullied?
Bullied or unbullied?
Yeah, with the manager that I can speak to, because that doesn't make any sense.
Hi, how's it going?
I was given this.
Did you bully this burger?
Well, yeah. This is a defenseless Whopper Jr. He can't defend himself.
I don't mean anything by it.
It's just relax.
Just relax. Just give me my burger, man.
What is going on here?
What are you? Is there something wrong with you? Because that's clearly what happened.
You can't be serious. Had you seen me bullying this burger, would you have stood up and said something?
Yeah.
It's good to know.
So we kind of talked about that already. Why were people more likely to say something about the Whopper Jr. than about the boys? Because it was probably affecting them directly. It's also, I think, another part of it may be you can see how the bullying of the burger, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but you can see how it affected the burger. The burger was all beat up and it stayed that way, where if you have the boy who might be bullied, not necessarily just physically, but emotionally, you don't see those long-lasting kind of emotions that could affect someone. All right. And we all want to say that, you know, when people say mean things or bad things about us, that it doesn't really affect us. But the truth is they do. All right. I don't know of anyone who can really be verbally abused, meaning like someone says bad things about them constantly and not be affected by it. It does affect us. It's how we deal with those emotions that maybe some of us are better at than others, but it does affect everyone.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah. What's your name?
Reese.
Hi, Reese.
We're just having fun.
You having fun? He's not having fun. So therefore, I think you guys should just leave him alone.
Clear. This feels better to me.
Have you ever been like messed with before?
Oh my god. Like the ideal world is where if somebody else sees like something weird happening, that they'll come over and be like, "Hey, this is not okay."
Yeah.
To feel defenseless, that's one of the worst things in the world.
Chelsea came and she would just tell them that it's not okay because it isn't.
Something I'll never forget is my friend standing up for me.
I've been that kid, so if I see it, I'm gonna do something about it. And I hope there's more people out there like that.
All right, so create a class list of actions you can take when you see someone being bullied. So one thing I kind of want to mention there is a lot of times when we see bullying or something happening that shouldn't be happening, we do have that initial kind of, well, it's not affecting me. Maybe they're friends and it's really just joking. I don't want to step in and seem like I'm overprotective, those types of things. And so it's important to have some pre-planned kind of phrases so you're not just kind of stuck in shock about what's happening and uncertainty. You can ask just a couple of phrases or say a couple of phrases that seem somewhat natural just to check in on the kid. So I think the first person said like, hey, are you okay? All right. The other person said, hey, are you having fun? Just having a couple of those things to ask the person to make sure that it's okay. So I want you, so here's what we'll do. You can put in the chat, all right, what are some phrases, make a list. What are some phrases that you could say just to check on someone to make sure that they're okay with what behavior is going on? Because honestly, I've seen, I coach football, I coach baseball, and there's always some teasing and things that are going on that I would not consider bullying because everyone is having fun while it's happening. But if that behavior would happen and one person is not having fun, it's no longer okay. It becomes bullying. And so it's important to have some of those phrases ready to ask to make sure that, hey, if what's happening here, is everyone okay? Is everyone having fun? Is this all in, buddies that are just playing around, or is it more than that? Is it something damaging? So put in the chat just some things, some phrases you could say to check in on someone to see if they're being bullied. Just saying, hey, what's up? Yep, that's good. Are these your friends? Everything okay? Excellent, excellent. Let's get at least one more up there. Good, excellent. All right, so now that's the end of, let me check here, the advisory thing. All right, the next time you see someone being treated badly, take a stand and say something. All right, so there's also, here I can stop presenting now. So now you have some phrases. Pick one or two phrases that mesh with your personality better than maybe the others. All right, have some phrases in your back pocket so when you encounter some bullying or something that you might think is bullying, that you can pull out one of those phrases as a tool to make sure that everything is okay. All right, so what we'll do next, Miss A, do you want to start going through Thursday's assignment?
Yep.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen too. Actually, I'm going to get back to the home page first. There we go. All right. So here is your home page. There's a class review if you want some review on the material for this week. I'd recommend doing that if you weren't there earlier. And then for today, we're going to start with this radiation exposure activity. So now we're going to kind of shift gears from atomic structure into radiation, which is pretty exciting. This is a really interesting topic, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So I'm going to share this tab instead. And as you can see on my screen, there's going to be a lot of reading. It's about a page of reading. And so I'm going to give you some advice. Before you start reading, you're going to want to read through the questions. So these questions are: list 3 places radiation may come from. Where does most of our radiation come from? What is an unstable atom? list 3 types of radiation, and then describe the differences between these types. So whenever you see any like reading analysis type question, you're going to want to read the questions before you start reading the assignment, so that way you know what you need to look for. So I'm going to have all of you make a split screen again so that you can see the questions as I'm reading through, so that you can start answering these as we go through this together. And then the next part of this assignment is you're going to go to a radiation exposure calculator. You're going to complete the survey and determine your yearly exposure, and you're going to answer the following questions. So remember, we'll read through these once we finish the next part, or once we finish this first part, and then you'll go ahead and get started on that, and you'll have some work time. But before we do this, I'm going to go over the next activity so that once you finish this, you can go ahead and get started on the next part. So the Friday activity is the radiation shielding lab. So I'm going to open this, and there's instructions here. And so I will play this video so that, or let's see how long it is. So it's a 6-minute video. So once you're done, I'm just going to have you watch this on your own when you're in class. It's going to walk you through what you're going to do in the assignment. So you're going to have to open the lab in a new window, and then you're going to go to this website where you're going to actually get to calculate and figure out how much radiation there is and how different types of shieldings affect the radiation. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. And this time, instead of a Google Doc, it's actually going to be a Google Sheet. It's not loading. Let's see. There it is. All right. So it's a Google Sheet. So here's the link again to the website. You're going to collect data, and you're going to count you're going to count the number of beeps for 30 seconds, and you can use your cell phone or Google to time it. And then so you're going to look at alpha particles, beta particles, and gamma rays. And you're going to talk about the activity, so the counts per second with no shielding, 1 millimeter of cardboard, 1 millimeter of aluminum, and 1 millimeter of lead for each of the different types of radiation. And then as you fill this in, the graphs are going to make themselves over here. So don't mess with the format or anything, because it'll affect how these graph. So just fill in the number of counts, and so just write the number. And then down here, there are some analysis questions. You're going to talk about what type of shielding is effective against alpha particles, against beta particles, and against gamma rays or gamma particles. So once you finish this first activity we're going to go through, you can go ahead and get started on this assignment. So I'm going to go back to the first assignment. I'm going to have you open your split screens. And if you could send me a chat when you're ready to go, we'll go ahead and get started. Just 1 or 2 people let me know you're ready. All right, I got 1 ready. Anybody else ready? Ready. All right. So our goal is to understand what radiation is, and we're going to determine our radiation exposure. Radiation is energy traveling through space. Sunshine is one of the most familiar forms of radiation. It delivers light, heat, and suntans. While enjoying and depending on it, we control our exposure to it. Ultraviolet or sunshine radiation is not the only kind of radiation. There are higher energy kinds of radiation which we all get in low doses from space, from the air, and from the earth and rocks. Collectively, we can refer to these kinds of radiation as ionizing radiation. It can cause damage to living tissue. At high levels, it is dangerous, so it is necessary to control our exposure. So we'll look at this first question. We're going to find 3 places radiation may come from. While we cannot feel this radiation, it is easily detected, measured, and can be monitored. Living things have evolved in an environment which has significant levels of ionizing radiation. At high levels, it is hazardous, but at low levels, which we all experience naturally, it is harmless. Many people owe their lives and health to the radiation produced artificially. Medical and dental x-rays discern hidden problems. Other kinds of radiation are used to diagnose ailments, and some people are treated with radiation to cure disease. Background radiation is radiation which is naturally and constantly present in our environment. Some of the background radiation comes from space, so it's cosmic radiation, and some comes from the materials in the ground, so terrestrial radiation. Levels of this can vary greatly. A lot of our natural exposure is due to radon, a gas which seeps from the Earth's crust and is present in the air we breathe. So a lot of our natural exposure comes from what? Radiation comes from the nucleus of an atom. Most atoms are stable, but some isotopes of atoms change or decay into new atoms. These kinds of atoms are called unstable or radioactive. An unstable atom has too many or too few neutrons, which results in the nucleus changing. This is called radioactive decay. When an unstable nucleus decays, radiation is emitted as an alpha particle, which is 2 protons and 2 neutrons, beta particle, which is an electron and positron, or gamma rays, which is a type of energy. This decay can cause it to become a new element. While decaying, the atom is becoming more stable until it is no longer radioactive. So we're going to talk about what an unstable atom is and the 3 types of radiations here. And alpha particles are charged from the 2 protons. This charge, its slow speed and high mass of the alpha particle means that it has little penetrating power and can be stopped by the first layer of skin or a sheet of paper. Beta particles are charged due to the electron or positron, are lighter and ejected at much higher speeds than alpha particles. They can penetrate up to 1 to 2 centimeters of human flesh. They can be stopped by a sheet of aluminum. Gamma rays are made up from energy and can pass through matter. These rays have great penetrating power and can pass right through the human body. Concrete, lead, or water is used to shield us from gamma rays. Gamma rays and X-rays are virtually identical, except that X-rays are produced artificially rather than coming from an atomic nucleus. So you might need to go back to find an answer to one of these questions, but finish working through this part. And once you finish this, you're going to go to the radiation exposure calculator, and you're going to determine your yearly exposure. And you're going to answer the following questions. What was your estimated annual radiation dose? What contributed the most to your dose? What contributed the least to your dose? What types of activities increase your exposure to radiation? What is radon? Where is it commonly found? What can you do to limit your exposure to radon? How much exposure do we have in Dodge County? And you can research online if you need to and explore the links at the bottom of the webpage. If you live near a nuclear plant, would your yearly exposure change a lot or a little compared to living by a coal plant? And why? And the average radiation dose is 350 mREM. How does that compare to your number? So once you finish this first part, you're going to start answering the second questions, and this should take you a little bit to get through. And once you're done with this, you can go ahead and get started on your activity for next week. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to monitor the chat box. So if anyone has questions, you can go ahead and ask. So Juan, what do you want me to do? What do you mean, what do you want me to do? I want you to work on the activities for today. All right, so I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear all my background noise here, but keep working on your activities. Okay, Juan does not understand any of it and do not know where to start. All right, so Juan, you are going to want to read through the radiation exposure activity, and I'm going to present my screen. Where is it? Here it is. So Juan, you're going to read through this again, and then you're going to answer the questions, and you can find all the answers to the questions in this assignment. And then once you finish this part, you're going to go to the radiation exposure calculator. So I'll open this so we can see what it looks like. And you're going to answer the survey. You're going to answer questions. So you're going to say, have you had an X-ray, nuclear medicine, or other diagnostic imaging in the last 12 months? Yes or no. Where in the United States you live. Cosmic radiation. What's the elevation in feet of your town? And I think there's a link here that will tell you. You're going to, if you click on that link, you can just say like Beaver Dam and it'll tell you the elevation. Whoops. And then you're going to talk about internal radiation from food, water, potassium, or if you have porcelain crowns or false teeth. If you travel a lot, other potential sources. And then you're going to talk about radon. And once you finish this, your estimated yearly dose is going to show up over here. So then you're going to answer these questions down here about your exposure and different types of radiation, how you live affects your radiation exposure. And then once you finish this, you're going to go to the lab. And you're going to watch this video here. And then you're going to complete and fill out the table in the Google Sheet to talk about radiation shielding and to see what's most useful to help you shield things. So, does that help at all? Are you ready to get started? All right, so why don't you start working, and as you have questions, you can just go ahead and ask and I'll help then. But I'll let you get started so you can have some work time today. You're welcome.